Would you call this a resumption of war if the president is saying that the MOU is dead and the ceasefire is over?
At some level, and I don't know if anyone should be surprised by this. A flawed military campaign has produced a flawed memorandum of understanding, which has produced a flawed process of implementation in which the Iranians believe, probably correctly, that they have come out of a 5 month on and off war with more assets and a greater resolve to continue. So there have only been three possible outcomes to this. One, a return to full-scale war. I don't see that happening. A second is a breakthrough in negotiations, which would take weeks, if not months, to come to fruition. And then the third issue, which I think you're watching play out, a kind of new normal, which will be episodic use of economic and kinetic power by both Iran and the United States against one another. The Straits, of course, remain fraught and probably will not return to the condition they were in on February 27th, February 28th. And this could go on for quite some time. I'm reminded of what the Taliban said to the Americans in Afghanistan. You may have the clock, but we have the time. And I think the Iranians actually do believe that they're in a better position to protect their core requirements. And one critical core requirement is making sure that their new rules of transit apply to the Straits of Hormuz.
What's the impact of the rhetoric, Aaron? Presumably, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will get back to a table with some, whether it's direct or indirect, at some point with Iran. The president called them scum, loco, crazy, sick people. Does that resonate?
Well, I mean, look, you're now in almost the sixth day, right, of the funeral, burial of the late Ali Khamenei. Mojtaba Khamenei, his son, has not been seen. He's supposed to attend the actual burial of his father tomorrow in Mashhad. The fact that may or may not occur because of the recent uptake in kinetic activity. I mean, this guy saw his mother and his wife and at least one of his children killed during those Israeli and U.S. strikes on February 28th. What do you suppose he thinks, if in fact he is a supreme leader with confidence and control? And that's unclear right now. What do you suppose he thinks of Donald Trump and the United States? I mean, I suspect this is only going to harden their views and increase their risk readiness rather than the risk aversion when it comes to confronting the United States.
Well, so let's talk about the nuclear program as well, because we've heard the argument frequently since this conflict began that it actually may just reinforce to Iran the idea that it needs to pursue a nuclear weapon. The president in this news conference has contended that effectively Iran isn't going to be able to have a nuclear weapon because it's so buried underground, the nuclear dust, that only the United States would be able to access it in the first place, and they would just blow up anyone that tried. Is that enough to guarantee that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon?
No, it's not. I mean, capacity and knowledge are the two ingredients, and the Iranians have both. There's no question, though, that from a tactical point of view, Israeli and U.S. strikes has fundamentally degraded Iran's nuclear infrastructure and put more time on the clock. They talk about breakout time. On the eve of this war, the breakout time, that is to say, the time required for the Iranians to actually have all of the elements required to make a weapon, the fissile material, the computer modeling, miniaturizing the warhead, the delivery system, was a matter of months. I think that breakout time has now increased. It's probably well into a year plus, maybe even longer. But again, I'm reminded of the Afghan notion. You have the clock, but we have the time. This regime has endured military campaigns by the world's most powerful military, the U.S., and the region's most powerful military, the Israeli Defense Forces. Not only has it survived, but it now has a new, arguably nuclear weapon, which is weaponizing the Straits of Hormuz. That, in my judgment, in the end, will be the ultimate indicator of who, quote, won or lost this war. And frankly, the Iranians will go to extreme lengths to ensure that new rules apply to the Straits. Preferential access, prescribed routes, navigation fees, environmental fees. It'll be a protection racket to force shippers and oil exporters to pay. And, Panama Canal and Suez, those are man-made transit points. they reap anywhere from what, $4 to $10 billion a year. You're not supposed to charge tolls in a natural waterway according to international law. But the fact is, I saw one calculation, the Iranians, if you take 130 ships on a day-to-day basis, charged at $2 million a ship, 365 days a year, I mean, we could be talking multiple billions of dollars. And the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, which is controlling this, sees this as an ATM machine for their own narrow pursuits and use. I think this is the key problem that the administration confronts. And the president is in a box, and coming from the NATO meeting, he's in a box, it seems to me, all alone. Where are the Chinese pressing the Iranians? They import 80 to 90% of the oil from the Saudis and the Iranians. Where are they? How come they're not pressing? The Europeans, frankly, have disappeared, largely because the president has criticized them and preempted them. But Trump is in a box, and again, I'll say it, he's all by himself. I just don't see how this administration gets out of this without leaving the straits with an enormous amount of control by the Islamic Republic of Iran. And that's going to be key to the international economy for many years to come until alternate infrastructure is developed, and of course to the global oil economy.